Okay. So good morning to everyone. Today in the networking, we will start a topic that is about the network security. So today in the network security, we will see or discuss about the thing that is the cryptography. And this cryptography is very much needed in the network security. So before discussing it, let's see that what is cryptography is. Now, basically, the cryptography is the science or the art of encryption. Now, what is encrypt? That, let's say, the basic example is like there is the source and the destination present. Now, source wants to communicate or wants to send some message to the destination. Now, the message will go over the unsecured channel, and between them, this may happen that any other malicious user who is present can take the data from the source and change this data. And after changing the data, it put it into the unsecured channel again, and the data goes to the destination. That means this malicious users will access the data that whatever the source is sending to the destination, between them this malicious user will be present, and it will access the particular data and alter that particular data, or say it will take the information, but source and destination doesn't able to know that what happens between them and what happens to that particular data. So this is malicious user which is accessing that. For this reason, what we have done, the encryption we have done. Now, if you see in the WhatsApp also, if you see that the message is always shown that the message is end-to-end encrypted. Now, end-to-end encrypted means what? The message you will send, and in the other, whatever the user is present, only that user can access that data. Any malicious user who is present cannot access that data. So that means if you are sending some message in WhatsApp, if you are sending some message to your friends, then the message will only be seen by your friends. That message cannot access by the other user, because the communication be done over the unsecured channel. So there may be present some malicious user present who is always trying to access your data and get the required information. And he or she can also done that it converts the original message, that like that you are sending the message tiger to your friend. Now this malicious user will do what? It will change the message and alter the message, because it is over the unsecured channel. So between them, the malicious user will come and alter that message. So between them, to liar, because he or she make the alteration of data and it sent it to the destination. So destination will think what? That the message line is sent by the sender, but this is done between this malicious user. So that is why the message should be encrypted. And this particular message, that means this particular message after encryption, it will become what? It will, this message will become, the plain text message will become cipher text. We always say that whenever a user will send data that is of the plain text, and after that this plain text, after encryption, this plain text will convert to the cipher text, and this cipher text will go to the side of the receiver, and receiver will do what? It will use the decryption algorithm. It will use the decryption. By decryption of this cipher text, it will convert the cipher text into the plain text again. That means this original message will be retrieved by the receiver again. So this is where this is called the cryptography. So cryptography is basically what? The art of encryption. And cryptanalysis, what? It is the art of breaking the encryption. means how an encryption can be breaked. This is all known as the cryptanalysis. And cryptography and cryptanalysis, both of this combination make the cryptology. So cryptology is basically a combination of cryptography and cryptanalysis. Okay. So let's say an example, we take that whatever the cryptography goal we have. Let's say this is an user that is Alice and this is an user that is Bob. So Alice will send some message to Bob. Alice will send some message to Bob. Now the message that will be sent over the insecure channel. So over the insecure channel, Alice will send the message to Bob. And between this, there is a malicious user. This is the malicious user, Eve. Eve is the malicious user who will always try to do what? It will always try to access whatever the message that Alice sent to Bob. It will always want to access that data. So that's why we are calling it as the malicious user, because the message is only contended to this user. This is not. So between them, if came and it will want to access the data that is sent from Alice to Bob. Now our cryptographic goal is, the first goal is the authentication. Now, what is the authentication? The authentication say that prevent this malicious user from impersonating Alice. So that means authentication means that the message that is to be sent, to the insecure channel will be that Eve doesn't access that data. This malicious user cannot able to access that data. This is the purpose we have to make that authentication. Then the next is data integrity. The data integrity suggests it is the service which addresses the unauthorized alteration of data, is also secure that Eve cannot alter the data that is going from Alice to Bob. This malicious user cannot able to alter that data. This is what the data integrity. So our first, what will be our first, we will see the authentication. That means the message that is to be sent from the source to destination, the malicious user cannot access that data. Second is what? The data that is sent from the source to destination, the malicious user cannot access and also alter that data. That cannot be done, because if this is done, then we cannot, the cryptography goal cannot be make. Then after that, confidentiality. The next goal is our confidentiality. That confidentiality is what? To keep the content of information from all but those authorized to it. That means only the message that is sent to be from Alice can only be accessed by the Bob. No other person can access that message. This is the confidentiality. This is the confidentiality we should have maintained. That means the source, the whatever the message the source will send, only can be accessed by the intended receiver. No other can access that intended message. This is the confidentiality. Third is the non-repudiation. Now, what is the concept of the non-repudiation? Now, the concept of the non-repudiation is basically it prevents an entity from denying the previous commitment on actions. That whatever the commitments or actions that it has done cannot deny that previous commitment and action. This is the non-repudiation. Now, based on this four, authentication, data integrity, confidentiality, and non-repudiation, it is the basically of the cryptography goal. Okay. Till now, it is clear.
Yes, sir.
It is clear to everyone. Okay. So this is the cryptography goals. So what cryptography goals we should maintain? Now, some basic vocabulary, that is what is the plain text, what is the ciphertext, we will see. Now, plain text is what? This is what you encrypt. Means the message that you encrypt is known as the plain text. And ciphertext is what? After encryption, the plain text becomes ciphertext. Means that after encrypting the message, what it will become? The plain text will become the cipher text. That is called the cipher text. Now, encryption is what? Encryption is the process by which the plain text is converted into the cipher text. Means through encryption, we will convert the plain text to cipher text. And encryption algorithm is what? Encryption algorithm says that the sequence of data processing steps that go from transforming plain text into cipher text. This encryption algorithm says the sequence of data processing steps, the sequence of data processing steps that go into transforming the plain text to cipher text. This is the encryption algorithm. Okay. Now, the various parameters used by an encryption algorithm, various parameters that is used by the encryption algorithm is derived from the secret key. From secret key, it can be derived. Now, in cryptography, for commercial and other civilian application, the encryption and decryption algorithm is placed in the public domain. Because for commercial use and the civilian application, the encryption and decryption algorithms, there are many encryption algorithms present and decryption algorithms are also present, and that are placed in the public domain. Then, what is the secret key or what is the secret? Now, secret key is basically used to set some of the various parameters. For various parameters is used by the encryption algorithm. So secret key is basically used for what? Secret key is basically used to set some various parameters, set some or all the various parameters that the encryption algorithm used. So secret key basically do that to set some or all the parameters that the encryption algorithm is used. So secret key is basically used for that. Now the important thing is that in classical cryptography, or we can say in previously, the same secret key is used. The same secret key is used for encryption and decryption. This is basically previously we do what? Previously the same secret key. So secret key is basically used to set some or all the parameters of the encryption algorithm. But previously, what in the classical cryptography, previously it is done that the same secret key is used for encryption and decryption. For encryption, whatever the key through which the encryption is done, same key is used for the decryption also. That is why it is called the symmetric key cryptography. That means for encryption, the particular key is used. For decryption, same key is used for the decryption. So same key, it is encrypted, or same key, it is decryption. That means if we real life in an example, like if we have a suitcase, let's say we have a suitcase. In suitcase, you have packed your clothes and everything. And after that, what the suitcase is in your hand. So what you will do in the suitcase, you will put the so basically is what? Basically we have, let's say there is a suitcase present. So in suitcase you have put the clothes there. So let's say you have put your clothes, and after that what you have done, you have through a key you will close the suitcase, and then you have packed your bags and go somewhere in your neighbor's house. So let's say, or in your guest house you go, and after that you will go there, and from there you will place your bag, and from then with same key you will open your bag. This is what the encryption and decryption thing is. That in your home, when you put the clothes in your bag, and after that with key you have locked the bag, and you go anywhere, you go your guest house, or you go your friend's house, and in friend's house you will place your bag, and through the same key you will open the bag again, and you will put your clothes from there to the outside. that is the same key. So same key, you are closing the bag, and after going to your friend's house or in the neighbor's house with the same key, you are opening the bag again. That is if you relate this concept in this networking, that is the concept of the symmetric key cryptography. Okay, so the same key. Now, when you closed your bag in your home, that is the encryption. And when you are opening the bag into going after you going to your neighbor's home or the guest home, then you are opening the bag to put the clothes from there to put out the clothes. So that is what that is the decryption. So if you relate this is the encryption and decryption. And with the same key, you are locking and opening. So that is why it is symmetric key. So for encryption and decryption, if same key is used, that is what we know as the symmetric key cryptography. Okay, so this is basically the symmetric key cryptography. But basically, in the modern day cryptography, then symmetric key cryptography have many such disadvantage, because the disadvantage occurred because nowadays the hackers can also hack that. So the message, what if the same key, so same key encrypted the message, and with same key we have been decrypting, then there are the malicious user or the hackers present who will do what? It is they are breaking that. So breaking that security. So that's why symmetric key cryptography in nowadays it is not used. But in the modern cryptographic algorithms, this is different in modern days. That's why the changes is needed and the change is happened. Now what change is it is happened? The encryption and decryption keys that are present are not only different, but also one of them is placed in the public domain. Now in that time, encryption and decryption keys are same, but in modern day cryptography, encryption and decryption are not the same, they are different. And one of them, between them, one of them is placed in the public domain. So this is why it is called the asymmetric key cryptography, because the keys for encryption and decryption are not same. So, and between them, one of the key is placed into the public domain. So that's why it is also known as the public key cryptography. So, did you understand what is symmetric key and asymmetric key cryptography? It is clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is the symmetric key cryptography concept, and another one is the asymmetric key cryptography, and we also known as the public key cryptography. Now, what is the decryption? Decryption is recovering the plain text from the cipher text. That is what I have said, that from cipher text, thus after encryption, the plain text become the cipher text, and the cipher text will go to the receiver side, and receiver has the decryption algorithm. Receiver has a decryption algorithm present. So decryption algorithm will do what? This decryption algorithm will convert the cipher text into plain text. This is the decryption. Now, the concept, another one is the block cipher and another one is the stream cipher. This is the two concept. Now, what is block cipher and what is stream cipher? Now, a block cipher process a block of input data at a time. That means block of input data. Block cipher process a block of input data at a time and produces the cipher text block of the same size. That means input data at a time is a block of input data coming at a time. Now, this produces the cipher text of same block size. Cipher text, same block size. So that's why it is known as the block cipher. And stream cipher is what? One by one, the data is came and that this data is encrypted. So that is what it is said, that a stream cipher encrypts data on the fly, usually one byte at a time. That means one byte came, this through encryption algorithm, it is encrypted, it's go on and become a cipher. The next byte came, this is again encryption through encryption algorithm, this byte is encrypted and it goes on. to the cipher as a cipher. So this is the concept of the stream cipher. So block cipher and stream cipher. Block means a block of data that is coming as at a time, input at a time, and this block of data process this block of data and produces the block of cipher text of same size. That is the block cipher. And stream cipher is 1 byte at a time it is coming, and one by one it is converting, encrypting the data, and it is converted to the cipher. So this is the stream cipher concept. Now there is another thing that name is the cryptanalysis. So cryptanalysis means what? Cryptanalysis means breaking the code. Cryptanalysis means breaking the code. The precise method used for the cryptanalysis depend on whether the attacker has used just a piece of cipher text or the pairs of the plain text and cipher text. That means break the code. Now this encryption and can be breaked. That is the technique we call as the cryptanalysis, means breaking the code. Now this precise methods used for cryptanalysis depend on whether the attacker has just a piece of cipher text. That means attacker in the attacker has the piece of cipher text or the pairs or the length of the cipher text, pairs of the plain text or cipher text which it contains. That's why he or she is able to break the code, because otherwise if it doesn't contain that, then the attacker cannot break the code. So the how much structure is possessed in the plain text and how much structure that is known to the attacker on the fly, usually 1 byte at a time. So that's why he or she can able to break that code. Otherwise, it cannot able to break that code. Now, there are some attacks. Now, key space. Key space is what? The total number of possible keys that can use for a cryptographic system. We will see later on that is what is DES, what is AES. But for example, let's say DES uses 56-bit key. DES stands for data encryption system. Uses data encryption system. It uses 56-bit key. So if the key space of the size will be 2 to the power 56, which is approximately the same as 7.2 into 10 to the power 6. So the total number of all these possible keys, that means for DES, DES is data encryption system, is a 56-bit key. So the key size will be what? Key size will be 2 to the power 56, 2 to the power n, that's why it is 2 to the power 56. And if we see, then we will see that it will be approximately 7.2 into 10 to the power 16. So this total number of all possible keys can be used for the cryptographic system. And brute force attack says what? Brute force attack says that trying every possible key on the piece of the cipher text until intelligible translation into plain text obtained. That means if we say that in the DES, if we want to break that DES, so the encryption that is made through data encrypted system, if we want to break that encryption, brute force attack says what? Brute force attack says try out every possible solution. Try out every possible solution means this is 7.2 into 10 to the power 16 times the try to this total number of this. We have to every possible keys. That means here if we want to break the DES, then the value is 7.2 into 10 to the power 16. So that means this times this 7.2 into 10 to the power 16 is the every possible key. So that much key, and each and every key you should try until the cipher text, the plain text can be obtained. So that means try out every possible solution until you get the intelligible translation into plain text. That means if any attacker, let's say any attacker want to break the DES the encryption that is made through DS. That means he should have to try 7.2 into 10 to the power 16 keys to break, and between them one of the key will be present. This between them one of the key will be present, and through that key the plain text can be obtained. This is very much problem, or very much problem is very much difficult for an attacker. For those who want to attack that, or those who want to access that, that means he or she has to try this keys, this total number of keys, and between them only one key will be possible which can break that cipher text. So normally, usually, this brute force attack is not by used by the attacker. They uses the overgraded version. They uses the newer version through which they can attack, or they can hack the message. So they cannot use this, cannot, previously they have used that, but now in a days, they, if any hacker wants to hack that, they doesn't use a brute force attack. Okay, so this is the concept of the brute force attack. That means every possible solution you should try out until the ciphertext translation into the intelligible plain text is obtained. Now, this is applicable when encryption decryption algorithms are publicly available. That means both are publicly available, then it can be done. This is the brute force attack. Now, next attack is the codebook attack. So these are the attacks that is used by the hackers. Okay, so first is a brute force attack. So previously it is used, but nowadays no hackers or no attackers didn't use that. Codebook attack. So codebook attack is what? In general, a codebook is a mapping from the plain text symbols to the ciphertext symbols. Okay, so codebook is mapping. It is the mapping from the plain text symbols, the symbols that is in the plain text to that symbols to the ciphertext symbols. That is the mapping. The code. A codebook is mapping from the plain text symbols to the ciphertext symbols. Next is what? The backdoor. The next is our backdoor. Now, what is backdoor? It is an application that allows the execution of unwanted, potentially harmful remote controlled operation on a device that would place the app into one of the other malware categories if it is executed automatically. Okay. Now we will move some of the things you already heard the name, that is spyware, like this spyware, ransomware, that the thing happened in some previous, in 2019, the thing happened, the ransomware like virus came and all the data are being hacked. Is that we will explain now. Now, first thing we will discuss about the commercial spyware. Now, what this spyware is. It is an application. It is basically an application. And this application do what? It transmits the sensitive information of the device without the user contents. That means, let's say the spyware attack in your device, or you are using the system, the spyware attack done. It will do what? This application will go present in your system. So without the user content, that means if you are the user, without your user consent, it will transfer the information, sensitive information, one by one, but you will not able to do nothing, and you will not able to know that thing, that this is happening. You didn't know that also, because this will be displays the persistence notification. That thing that is happening, the user doesn't know about that, because no notification will be shown. So without your consent, if that application, let's say through an application, the spyware comes to your device, that means your sensitive information that will already go on without your consent, this will be go on to your the third party. But this is the commercial spyware. That means any organization uses it. Now, why this organization use, let's say two organizations, they are bidding for a same thing. Let's say they are bidding for this business, they are bidding for the same thing. So that means then one organization wants to know that what cost it's given for the bidding. So like that this for this reason, that means they will do what? They will send a spyware, so that this spyware will do what? If the other organization has this spyware contents application in that in their device, then from there the information, sensitive information of the device will go on from the without user consent, and the other organization will know all the things about that. So this is what this is, that's why it is name given as a commercial spyware. That means if this is used for by companies to know other companies secret, that is why they send the spyware. So without their consent, if the company install any way that comes in its devices, then the sensitive information, it will go on and the other organization will collect it and this will happen. So this is the commercial spyware, means the application that transmits sensitive information without the user content, and user cannot know, also user cannot able to know that because it does not display a persistence notification. So this will happen. Next is another, that is the denial of service. Now it is an application that is without the knowledge of the user. That means user doesn't know anything. This application will do what? Without the knowledge of the user, executes denial of service attack, or is a part of denial of service attack against other system and resource. Now, what it will do? Like high volume of HTTP request, high volume of HTTP request produce the excessive load on the remote servers. Let's say you doesn't know anything. If you are a user, you doesn't know anything, and the request will go on to the server. Request will go on to the server, and excessive load will be given to your server, so that it will send high volume of request. And without your knowledge, it will be happen. So that's why the server will do what? The server will not able to accept your request because flow control will not happen. The excessive load you will given, but you doesn't know anything, you are not giving anything. The application that is installed, that application produces the excessive load and it is sending the HTTP request. So excessive load present on the going onto the remote servers. That is the denial of service attack. Okay. Next is this name, you have already heard this name, that is the phishing. That is the name, that is phishing. This is also an application. This application is sometimes you will see that in the message or in the mail, it is given that this is our from SBI account, your SBI account number is what, and this SBI account, this is a credit card loan, like this it is coming. Now if you that the mail, if you install or if you download that, that means the application is in your system, this application is installed. So this is phishing. Phishing is basically that the application, now this application is pretending to come from the trustworthy source. Sometimes you will say see in mail, it is given that it is from the SBI credit card loan or SBI like this some, but that doesn't content about the bank. That is not for the bank, but this information comes. And if the message is downloaded, that means the application is installed in your system. And all the without the authentication, without your permission, the authentication credentials like billing information will be sent to the third party. Now you already see that in example, it is saying that the common targets of the phishing include banking credential, credit card numbers, online account credentials, for social networks and games. For this, the phishing application is done. Okay. Till now it is clear. समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what the phishing. अच्छा, तुम लोगों का नेक्स्ट में कोई क्लास है? नेक्स्ट जो इसके बाद है, कोई क्लास है इसके बाद? नेक्स्ट में तुम लोगों का मेरा क्लास हो जाने के बाद कोई क्लास है तुम लोगों का?
सर अभी तक लिंक तो आया नहीं है।
अच्छा, ठीक है ठीक है, तब हम रिज्वाइन करने बोलेंगे, क्योंकि ये थोड़ा कंप्लीट करना है, इसलिए हम रिज्वाइन करने बोलेंगे, इसलिए पूछे। ओके, द नेक्स्ट इज द ransomware. Now this is a thing happened in 2019 and inside the 2000, like the year I have not in the mind, that a big thing happened, the ransomware. Now this is what ransomware is, also an attack. Now this is what it is, an application. It is the application that takes the partial or extensive control of your device. That means the device you are using, it will take the control and demand payment to release the control. So the hacker will do what? It will install this application. So this application, if this application is installed, that means the hacker will control that. Now partial control will be of that device, will be for that, and after that it will demand money so that the control it will release. This is the ransomware. Now it can, what it does, it can lock a user out of their device and demands money to restore. That means he or she are controlling your device, and to make release of that, he or she will demand money. For that, he or she will demand money to release the control of your device. That is the ransomware attack. Now it can lock a user out of their device and demands money to restore the user control. Ransomware that encrypts data on the phone, like encrypts data on the phone and